doesn't care about you. That's why you need a medical emergency kit. It contains life-saving medications like ivermectin, Z-Pak, and antibiotics. Stock them before they block them.
Actually come out. You decide to go to Gaza. And what did you see?
It looked almost like a nuclear bomb had been set off in that area. And then you see these people moving back, and I asked the IDF, where are they going? Like, I'm looking around, these are all ruins. And they said, well, they're going back to the areas where their destroyed home was, onto their plot, and they're going to pitch a tent. And it's very sad, because you think to yourself, they really have nowhere else to go.
Would you say now, having been there, that it was genocide?
No. No.
Absolutely not. No. No, there was a war being fought.
Israel again. Do you feel that Israel was justified with striking what it did?
Striking where?
In Gaza today and overnight?
I'd have to get back to you on that. I'd have to get back.
What is the next step?
Because we're going to be determined. You know, all of that's is under consideration right now. It's under review.
Calls from the Iranians. So.
What?
Yeah. So
what are they saying? What?
Peace is infectious now.
Who are the Iranians calling? You?
Well, we're there to, hopefully have a long-term diplomatic solution with Iran. So.
And someone's working on that?
Oh yeah, we're working on Algeria and Morocco right now, our team, and there's going to be a peace deal there in the next, in my view, 60 days.
Argentina's fighting for its life, young lady. You don't know anything about it. They're fighting for their life. Nothing's benefiting Argentina. They're fighting for their life. You understand what that means? They have no money. They have no anything. They're fighting so hard to survive. If I can help them survive in a free world, I happen to like the president of Argentina. I think he's trying to do the best he can, but don't make it sound like they're doing great. They are dying. All right, they're dying.
And you even mentioned that you agreed a phone call with Prime Minister Modi, and that Modi had said his country would stop purchases of Russian oil.
Yeah, he's going to stop purchasing.
But India said that they were not aware.
Well, then they're going to just keep paying a lot of tariffs.
Did you have the phone
if they said
call,
that, but I don't believe they said that. No, I spoke with Prime Minister Modi of India, and he said he's not going to be doing the Russian oil thing. So that's it.
But why would India say that they're not going to do it?
I don't know, but if they want to say that, then they'll just continue to pay massive tariffs, and they don't want to do that.
You had a cordial meeting with President Zelenskiy. During that meeting, did you tell him he needed to cede all of the Donbass region to Russia?
No, we never discussed it. We think that what they should do is just stop at the lines where they are, the battle lines. You have a battle line right now. And the rest is very tough to negotiate. If you're going to say, you take this, we take that, there's so many different permutations. So what I say is they should stop right now at the battle lines. Go home, stop killing people, and be done.
What do you think should happen with the Donbass region?
Let it be cut the way it is. It's cut up right now. I think 78% of the land is already taken by Russia. You leave it the way it is right now. They can negotiate something later on down the line. But I said cut and stop at the battle line. Go home. Stop fighting. Stop killing people.
Understand why the leader of the country, which has the biggest territory in the world, they need some more kilometers. That's why I think that this war is not about the land and not about territories for him. It's about our sovereignty and about our independence. And he can get it, how to get different instruments. Territories, one of the instruments. That's about it. On the battlefield, he's not winning. That's why he really escalates air strikes. And you are right, he using missiles and drones on he wants disaster, energy disaster during this winter by attacking us. Each day, 500 Iranian drones. Each day, 500 Iranian drones and 20 sortie missiles. That's why we need air defense and long range. He has to feel what we feel.
Welcome to the SCIF. We want to give a big, heartfelt CDM thank you to President Donald J. Trump for confronting Zelensky and saying end the war. We have, as you know, we have been extremely vocal on this subject, and we feel that media accountability is key. And we've been trying to provide that accountability to the administration and the foreign actors and the bad actors in our administration, in our country. So we hope this war ends soon. Trump is exactly right. And we kind of thought all this other stuff was posturing, but now we're getting down to the brass tacks. Cut it, leave it where it is, stop the war, stop the killing, and negotiate. I think that is really sound advice to President Zelensky. And by the way, stop persecuting the Ukrainian Orthodox Church, stop persecuting the media, hold elections, stop importing migrants, which we know you're doing and looking to do for your globalist leaders, but stop all of it. So maybe we'll have peace now. You know, we got to start in Gaza, but Israel's bombing Gaza again. A lot of, I guess, consternation over whether that was real, what's going on. There's obviously some killings going on between rival factions, Hamas, civilians, other gangs in Gaza. And there's, allegations by the Israelis that the Hamas fighters were coming up and shooting and targeting Israeli soldiers. So we'll see if the peace actually happens in Gaza. I had my doubts, to be honest, but we'll see. I'm hopeful we get peace now. We got a hell of a show for you today. I want to say hello to the crew. You're cleared hot in the chat. Thank you so much. We've already got it going. Love it. Just fantastic. Love the regulars and love all the newbies coming in and some normies too. We'll hope we get some comments like, what are you talking about? Well, you're in the reality zone here, so you're not going to get the MSNBC or CBS message here, or even Conservative Inc. message. You're going to get the truth, which is exactly what you need. We are being throttled big time on X. We've got tens of thousands of followers, and right now we have 24 people watching the show on X. That means nobody's going out. I mean, it's usually several hundred at least starting the show, but I guess they don't want us talking about AI. That was the subject of the show today, and that's what we're going to talk about later with Brenden Reilly in the second hour. Is AI here to kill you? That's the big question, and Brenden is going to answer that, again, with truth. This is what we bring here. No glittery, let's feel good, kumbaya moments. We're going to tell you the truth as to what's happening, so I look forward to that. We got Paige Shepard in the second segment. She is a young advocate. We had Mr. Constantino on earlier in the month, and this is his sidekick, Paige Shepard, who's been very active as a female in the rise of the youth across the U.S. on different college campuses. So Paige is going to join us. Make sure you check out whatfinger.com. Great aggregator site. We love them. They love us. They post a lot of our stuff, and we really appreciate that. You saw what's going on in Gaza with Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner. There seems to be a disconnect there. If you see, the entire place is, and I'm not calling Israeli genocide, but I am saying they flattened Gaza, and I think that was intentional. We'll get to that over time. Zelenskiy, we've talked about. A lot going on today. We'll be right back. We've got a lot of stories to walk through. Don't go away. Stay with us on the SCIF. We'll be right back with Paige Shepard. I hope. If she doesn't come, we got a backup, because I didn't get a confirmation with her. We all shook hands on everything last week, but I haven't heard from her today or yesterday. So we'll see. If she doesn't come, if there's a mix-up, we'll get her in later, but we've got a backup. So we'll be right back after this break.
Ask a question about the nicotine pouches?
Yes.
Does it melt in your mouth, or do you have to spit it out later?
You can spit it out, you can swallow it, or you just savor it. I mean, you throw it in like you would a dip of tobacco.
Okay.
But you just let it sit there, and then it suffuses your nervous system with life-giving nicotine. And it really does feel like the hand of God is massaging you.
But does it feel like the high of smoking a cigarette?
It's simultaneously, if you can imagine the Zen paradox, higher alertness accompanied by deep relaxation.
Wow.
So you really are, it's a Zen experience. You're like cat-like in your readiness, but you're fully
And how long does it last?
I always have one going. Sometimes if things are, if I need it, I'll put another one in. So I've got 18 milligrams of nicotine. but that gives me an unfair advantage.
You're banging 18 milligrams? Woo. That's impressive.
I don't like to, because everybody else kind of recedes into the background and I become this kind of colossus when I do that, and I feel guilty about it. Hubris is inevitable at that point. So I usually keep it to 1.
I mean, I could use a new addiction.
Oh, yes.
What's the gateway drug level? What would you prescribe?
This sits between caffeine and cocaine.
We sell a 3 milligram, but there's a transition, like all great addictions. Like, it's not instant. You do vomit at first, but then your body acclimates.
Wait is finally over. My towels are back in stock, but not for long. Get a 6-piece My Towel set, regular $69.98, now only $39.98. Towels that actually work. What a concept. And that's not all. Check out our My Pillow bed sheets, only $29.88. Any color, any style, any size, even kings. Regular $119.98, now only $29.88. And how about our limited edition premium My Pillows, made with Giza cotton and a designer gusset, made exclusively for you to thank you for all your support. Queens $17.98, Kings only $19.98. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to get My Towels for $39.98, My Pillow bed sheets only $29.88, and our limited edition My Pillow Queens $17.98 and Kings only $19.98. Quantities won't last long, so order now.
Welcome back to the SCIF. I see I've got Paige Shepard in the green room. I'm going to bring her in now.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Hey, Paige, thanks for joining me. Really appreciate you taking some time out of your day. I had Blake on earlier and really enjoyed what he had to say, and he gave you a shout out big time on on our interview. Tell me what you're doing, and it's amdes.org, right? What are you doing inside the organization?
Yeah, so Blake and I are working together. Sorry.
No worries. It happens to me too.
Blake and I are working together to really get Amdest off the ground right now. Like he mentioned, we've been working for about 9 months.
Yeah.
And so we were formally got off the ground in July. And so now it's been a big hustle to get people involved, get the word out there about Amdest, and really solidify what we're doing.
Are you in Virginia too?
No, I'm in North Carolina.
Oh, okay, cool. What part?
I'm in Winston-Salem. I go to Wake Forest University.
Oh, wow. Awesome. So how's the hurricane, by the way, down there? Are people recovering from what happened?
Around me, we weren't really hit, but I know it's really bad in parts like Asheville. I know a few of my friends have gone and done hurricane relief.
Oh, cool. Well, what's been the reaction at Wake Forest to what you're trying to do?
So our campus is really interesting. We have an interesting dynamic here. We're more towards a white and wealthier school. Mm-hmm. So naturally that can lean people towards conservatism. I would say our campus is more conservative than the average university campus. And
Really?
I believe it's because of that. But of course, our population still tends to be pretty liberal.
I have to ask you, why do you say, because, if you're in the Northeast, a white, wealthy campus is not conservative? Is it just because of your community, or why do you think that drives conservatism at the campus? Just because where they're coming from?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, it's funny. Everyone from here is from the Northeast, and I think
Really?
what I see, I'm involved with conservative groups on campus, so I'm trying to lead a conservative push on campus. But I think just in general, young people are becoming more open to conservative ideas, and I'm really seeing that on my campus.
That's really, really interesting. So are they getting involved? Are they asking questions? I mean, what's the typical response? You go up to, say, somebody from New York, upstate New York or Connecticut, and you talk to them about conservatism, and are they open to it? I mean, what's the response?
Well, it definitely depends on who you talk to.
Yeah.
I know a lot of the men are obviously just more conservative in general. But a lot of the women, surprisingly, have been also conservative. So I think there's a good community of intellectual thought that where people want to be open to ideas. And even I have liberal friends who I'll talk to about conservative ideas. And I think it's really about understanding where everyone comes from, because then you can have a productive conversation.
Wow, that's encouraging. So the women are actually open to it, because you hear a lot that the men are, all conservative, and the women are, popping Tylenol and all this kind of stuff. So
I do not own Tylenol. Let me be clear.
Well, that's really encouraging. So what are you doing on the campus, like organizationally? Are you holding events? Are you one-on-one? I mean, how do you spread the message?
So for American Destiny, I think something we've decided is that we are going to likely have representatives of American Destiny on campuses. I know Blake had mentioned earlier that we were going to do chapters, but the idea that we're moving towards now is having 1 or 2 representatives, because we don't want to compete with Turning Point and Young Republicans groups with their chapters on campuses. They already have the infrastructure there. We don't want to or need to compete with them. We would very much like to work with them and work with that infrastructure that is in place to get those conservative students that are involved, take them off campus, and get them actually involved in politics, volunteering on campaigns.
That's what Blake said. You're really focusing on the campaign involvement, correct? Not just like having events and talking conservatism. So how are people getting involved? Are they manning the phones? Are they spreading the word, or what are they doing?
So what we're doing right now is we are looking for conservative students across the country who would like to be these representatives in American Destiny. And they will have a substantial role within the company. As one of these representatives, you get to decide what issues are important to you and what you would like to focus on. You get to find these people and you get to take a big leadership role. So it is a really good opportunity for all these students. So what we're looking to do right now is really spread the message of AmDest and find these students that are passionate and willing to work on our cause.
So you mentioned Turning Point and Young Republicans. How are you different from them? That's what people are asking, I'm sure, because Turning Point has a big PR thing going on. They pull in a lot of donations. I mean, how are you different?
So what we've been saying is that Turning Point and Young Republicans, they seek to evangelize the conservative cause. They want to bring people in. Turning Point will table and they'll say, hey, learn about conservatism. We want to educate. Turning Point has a big emphasis on education, and that's awesome. We need more people in our conservative movement, but what we do is we take those students who are already conservative and we bring them off the campus, and then we get them involved in the political and civic process.
Wow. So at the local level, how does the community GOP structure? I assume you're getting in the GOP infrastructure, getting them involved there, or is it more? What is your target off campus?
Yeah, we're looking at all types of campaigns and contributions. So what we're going to do is we're going to identify campaigns that have our interests in mind and have our policy goals in mind, and then we will work to connect students with those. So whether it's a local election or a statewide election or even a national election, that's what we're looking to do.
Well, that's definitely needed. So as a conservative woman, what does conservatism mean to a young woman at Wake Forest? I mean, what is that? Because I think the guys and the gals may have a different view of that or different priorities. What is it for you or for your colleagues or the people you meet?
Well, I think as a woman, the worst thing that happened to the liberal movement is that they tried to lie to us, and they tried to tell us that men and women are not different.
Yeah.
And they tried to tell us that men can be women and women can be men, but it's just not true. I think anyone knows at the fundamental level that men, first of all, don't understand women. Everyone knows that. Why is that? Because we're different.
Yeah.
It's so simple. So as a woman, I've been told that I need to strive and aspire to be like a man, and that my femininity is not strong and powerful. And I want to fight against that. And I think that's what is appealing to a lot of women in the conservative movement. It's okay to wear a dress as a girl. We can be girly and we can be strong and powerful and follow our passions.
I think that's probably attractive to the guys too, to be blunt. Well, that's fantastic. What does the future look like? What are your priorities right now? You may have already mentioned it, but I mean, what are you really focused on right now?
I think the biggest thing is recruiting people to the American Destiny cause and getting people involved. I mean, what we're looking to do in our organization is have a nationwide grassroots push to conservatism. And yes, we have these turning point chapters that are doing an amazing job at bringing conservative students in and changing their minds. But now we want to take the next step. We want to get them involved in politics. We want Gen Z to rise up and get involved in the civic process. And that's what we're looking to do, is to take these new conservative minds that have just been changed and get them off campus and get them involved.
Last question. What's the reaction at Wake Forest to what you're trying to do? I mean, from the administration on down, or
from the administration.
Yeah.
I'd say our administration we're decently apolitical. I know I run the Turning Point group on campus, and so we've been working with them to get pushed through with a charter status, and they've been very helpful.
Good. Okay.
So I think universities are under a lot of pressure right now, especially to help conservative groups on campus, because with the way the tide has been changing towards more conservative values, no one wants to look like the sore liberal here who doesn't want free speech. So I think everyone, at the very least, wants the appearance of fostering free speech environment on campus. So I think that's what I've been seeing.
Are you seeing that in the classroom? I mean, are you professors open to that? I mean, do they say, okay, here's DEI may have good or bad possibilities? I mean, what do you hear?
I think professors is different because it's on a very individual level.
Yeah.
I mean, I know I have liberal professors. I know that very clearly. I think it's up to me to discern between what is more liberal, their opinion, and what is actual course content. I mean, on the first day of class, one of my professors called Ben Shapiro a bigot. I was like, that's fine if you think that, but I mean, I love the way he teaches history. So I think it's on my personal level just to discern between what is a more liberal opinion and what is the content of the course.
Wow, discernment is so key. That's awesome also to hear. How do people help you, Paige? Where do they go? What do they do? If you're somebody who wants to be involved at Wake Forest or any other school around the country.
So you can find our contact info at amdest.org. That's AMDEST.org. You can also email us at office@amdest.org, and you can reach out to me on my X account.
Paige, thanks so much for coming on. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me.
Bye.
Celebrate our newest launch, Rev 7. I'm bringing you an amazing introductory offer, plus an exclusive overstock sale that you're not going to want to miss. Rev 7 is our premium energy drink that tastes great and gives you energy all day with no jitters and no crashes. That's because there's no sugar and no caffeine. I'm so sure you're going to love Rev 7 that for a limited time you can try our 3-pack absolutely free. Or check out our Percale bed sheets. I can't believe I'm even going to say this. Every color, every style, every size, only $29.88. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to save 20% on our Rev 7 12-packs or try our introductory 3-pack absolutely free. And our Percale bed sheets, all sizes, only $29.88, even the queens and kings. Inventory is extremely limited, so order now.
Pandemic, we can never be caught unprepared again. And so many Americans, when COVID hit, they had nothing in the house. Stores were shut down and doctors' offices were shut down. And even if doctors prescribed drugs, hydroxychloroquine, ivermectin, pharmacists wouldn't fill the prescriptions. That was a nightmare.
Now the situation is much worse. We have these horrible supply chain problems. In our emergency medical kit at the Wellness Company, we have 8 prescription drugs that are all potentially life-saving.
Most people who died with COVID, they died in the hospital because they didn't receive early treatment.
Every American family should have one of these.
I can tell you the Wellness Company kit is the answer.
When Johnny comes marching home again, hurrah, hurrah, we'll give him a hearty welcome then, hurrah, hurrah. Oh, the men will cheer, the boys will shout, the ladies, they will all turn out and will all...
Welcome back to the SCIF. We got Brenden Reilly in the second hour. He is an expert on AI. I know I've spent a lot of time with him discussing all his entrepreneurial exploits in the sector. I'm really looking forward to that. Brenden is always a wealth of information and really just blunt truth on what's going on with AI. So I'm looking forward to that second hour. Let's do the mission brief real quick. Kind of got jammed up there in the first segment. I'm your host, Todd Wood. This is the SCIF, and here's your mission brief. Trump tells Zelenskiy to make peace. I want to delve into that later in the show. Israel restarts the Gaza war. We'll also discuss that. Mamdani poses with a monster in New York. You may not know about this one. We're going to go through these stories later in the show, but Mamdani posed with an imam that was training terrorists and actually killed his own son, and his boy was buried there. This is really a shot in the foot for Mamdani. It's going viral, so we'll discuss that. Florida's going after the vaccines again, which is great to see. Love it. And USDA is dropping edible rabies tablets everywhere. Edibles infected with the rabies virus across the eastern seaboard, from New York all the way down to Georgia. I'm not joking. This is from the USDA itself. Of course, they are allegedly vaccines, but there's no testing. The CDC itself said that there is exposure possibly to the rabies virus by humans. So if your child finds an edible on the ground, don't eat it because it may have rabies. Just really incredible tyranny and nefarious behavior going on with our health experts still. So we're going to get into the stories after Brenden Reilly today, but I want to play something from David Clements. We played it on the Georgia show yesterday, and I thought it was really good. It's his new Professor's Record video that's out. I really think this is good on the Dominion machine. So here we go.
In my garage study, the dryer offers a gentle hum. Screens flash with news of Liberty Vote's rise, announcing Dominion's death. So-called conservatives hail the news, heralding it as a win for election integrity. It might be, but not for the reasons they claim. I see two possibilities. Trump's DOJ is exerting pressure on Dominion. Criminal investigations are underway. They were pressured to sell. Decommission rigged machines while the government shutdown allows Trump to defund and remove the deep state election aspects of DHS and CISA, with the goal of getting us to paper ballots, hand-counted in a single day. The other, Liberty Vote, is the deep state's latest attempt to shapeshift, play at compliance, and move the goalpost on how elections will be subverted going forward. It could be a combination of both, but here's my dilemma. I can't validate the first option with any real confidence. It's a hunch, an intuition, and I can't risk allowing our election-rigging black box slave masters to go about in peace on mere intuition. So, shine a light I must on Liberty Vote. Why? Because conservative influencers that may be sincere in their misguided beliefs about our elections are still silent about the use of rigged machines and software. Sincerity be damned, their beliefs are killing our nation's elections. I suppose I can live with idiots babbling about things beyond their understanding, but I can't abide Conservative Inc., the MAGA-masked establishment that knows the truth but pretends otherwise. They are facilitators of the nefarious lie that machines do not bleed us dry, all while concealing the Faustian devil that gave them 30 pieces of silver to maintain their celebrity platforms. Look at the silence concerning military hero Colonel Conrad Reynolds, an advocate for paper ballots, arrested on bogus electioneering charges when all he did was conduct an exit poll. His accusers, Republicans in deep red Arkansas. If Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders is defending the machines, allowing a Trump-loving veteran to be prosecuted, then you know we still have work to do. It's for these reasons that I believe Liberty Vote's rise isn't a house-cleaning rebrand. It's a fresh arm of the same ancient beast. Think of a Leviathan-like octopus, its arms able to bend, twist, elongate, and shorten throughout the nation's election infrastructure. Each arm has rows of suckers that latch onto true election reformers, suffocating them with deep state resources. When reformers gain a victory by cutting off an arm, the octopus regrows it, restoring function in weeks or months. It shifts colors like a chameleon, mimicking coral or rock to hide in plain sight. Liberty Vote's rebrand of Dominion mimics it, with new logos and a website. That's how stupid they think we are. The playbook is ancient, summoning the memory of 2 Corinthians 11:14, which states, "And no wonder, for Satan himself masquerades as an angel of light." Change the name of Dominion to Liberty, and presto, the charade begins anew. And that's the topic for today. Leviathan's tentacles, Dominion voting sacrificed. Meet the new tentacle replacing it, Liberty Vote. When scrutiny intensifies and a hue shift fails, another arm slithers in. It replaces the exposed one, posing as a free market competitor. Yet all arms, election systems and software, ES&S, VR systems, Dominion, Total Vote, Liberty Vote, trace to one ravenous monster controlling the vote. If you need a primer on all these entities and how each has contributed to the theft of the 2020 election, watch my documentary, Let My People Go, and then come back to this article. If you are up to speed, consider the latest PSYOP for your mind. Raheem Kassam's National Pulse hailed Liberty Vote as Dominion's death on October 9th, 2025. Whether he knows it or not, he helped stage another cycle of deception. His article claims a few days speaking with Dominion's new owner, Scott Leindecker, and his team. It reads as a public relations puff piece, glossing over the litany of electoral abuses attributed to Dominion and Leindecker's knowing, precursors to Liberty Vote. Not one detail is offered on how Liberty Vote intends to plug Dominion's software backdoors to bring in, I quote, "a new chapter for American elections, one where trust is rebuilt from the ground up." Leindecker is portrayed as an election integrity bulldog, a Republican election official who reformed elections in St. Louis, Missouri. So, who is Scott Leindecker? He is the architect behind several arms of the shape-shifting Leviathan, a former Republican elections director in St. Louis. He founded Knowink in 2011, pioneering electronic poll books used by 36 million voters in 29 states by 2024 that enable real-time monitoring ripe for manipulation via internet ties. Remember voters being checked in remotely at a Dallas voting center as polls closed?
I'm now at 817. I'm at 1,089 now.
You can thank electronic poll book technology for that. Under his watch, Knowink merged with BPro in 2020, inheriting Total Vote, a cloud-based system plagued by subversions. One subversion fraudulently backdated 75,000 Hawaii voters discovered after 2020's fraudulent election. Who knows whether those voters were real? I just know Election Commissioner Ralph Cushnie confirmed 19,042 ballots have no record of their origin in one county in the last general election. Leindecker's total vote was in use in New Mexico, working with Dominion voting systems. That's right. Total Vote had a dry run with Dominion before. New Mexico's 2022 Otero audit, led by Aaron Clements, flagged impossible voter registration spikes. 33 counties' rolls inflated in lockstep. Fraudulent registrations ticking like a fine-tuned clock. Leindecker's last acquisition enabled it. Now he's collected Dominion. Don't take my word that Leindecker has no intention of reigning in Dominion. An email from Liberty Vote to Dominion clients stating it's business as usual, same team, same support, different name, discredited his public promise to rebuild trust from the ground up. Leindecker's resume includes a 2010 stint overseeing Kosovo's elections under Obama, a geopolitical win for the European Union. Now he buys Dominion, rebranding it Liberty Vote, 100% American-owned. He pledges audits but leaves lawsuits in place against Mike Lindell and Patrick Byrne. Both are fierce Dominion critics. Both were stymied in their audit efforts. So much corruption, hacks, backdoors, anomalies unfolded on Leindecker's watch. Yet he consolidates Knowink and Dominion's worst features under one umbrella. Leindecker is like Agent Smith from The Matrix, a digital enforcer spawning through zeros and ones to guard a cloud-based vote and an AI-driven future, silencing threats to its power. His master is the slave master of old, trading iron chains for digital ones, adapting from plantation to precinct server, promising freedom while tightening its grip on the republic. Election vendors Diebold, Smartmatic, Dominion, ES&S, Knowink, morph and merge, their arms shifting hues or slithering anew to dodge scrutiny. Federal lines like FirstNet snake into precincts. Unless we have the courage to unplug. Courage to restore human hands and eyes to count ballots. The octopus's game is clear. Fraud surfaces, alarms sound, then the shapeshift, a subtle color change or new arm, all promising safeguards while the code endures. Conservative ink, cloaked in MAGA zeal, cheers the new arm, never naming the Leviathan. To understand the Leviathan snare, we must trace its tentacles back 25 years. Enter the Leviathan arm known as Diebold Election Systems. The 2000 Hanging Chad chaos in Florida's Bush-Gore election, a pretext amplifying minor ballot issues, birthed the Help America Vote Act, HAVA, in 2002. It created the Election Assistance Commission, EAC, and funded digital black boxes. By 2003, Diebold's leaked software was found hackable, per A.V. Rubin's analysis. In 2006, its iVotronic touchscreens failed 10% of tests in Ohio, sparking fraud claims and Security and Exchange Commission lawsuits. Bev Harris showed memory cards could be swapped, tampering totals. CEO Walden Odell resigned in 2005 amid probes. The shapeshift. Diebold shifted its husk to Premier Election Solutions in 2009. When scrutiny persisted, ES&S's arm slithered in, acquiring Premier's assets. ES&S was folded by Dominion in 2010 for $5.1 million, integrating iVotronic into Democracy Suite used in 20-plus states. The result? Orchestrated confusion, like the popular Spider-Man meme where he faces the chameleon, both pointing in bewilderment. Now enter the Leviathan arm known as Smartmatic. Founded in Venezuela in 2000, it entered the U.S. via Sequoia voting systems in 2005, reaching 16 states by 2006. Eric Coomer, a key software developer, joined Dominion in 2010, carrying fraud-prone code as a 2025 whistleblower revealed citing backdoors. The shapeshift. Glitches in Venezuelan ties sparked scrutiny. The 2007 sale to Dominion merged Sequoia's assets. Hyder Garcia, a Smartmatic engineer, consulted for the EAC, ran Tarrant County elections, then joined Hart InterCivic in 2025, another tabulating tentacle ensuring continuity. Colors on interfaces changed, but the monster's grip held firm. The next Leviathan arm is BPRO, which coiled tightly in other jurisdictions. Born in South Dakota, its total vote software, funded by a 2007 HAVA grant, spread uncertified via state gifts. Renamed from Centralized Election Reporting System in 2009, it reached Nebraska and Hawaii. Subversions emerged. New Mexico's 2022 Otero audit flagged BPRO's impossible spikes. Jessica Palima's canvassing team exposed BPRO's Azure ties, hacked by China in 2023, alongside FirstNet access. Stories on FirstNet and Albert Sensors exposed corrupt DHS actors' unfettered access to monitor and change data. One was retruthed by President Trump. Scrutiny followed. The shapeshift. Knowing's arm slithered in, merging with BPRO in 2020, inheriting Pennsylvania's $10 million statewide Uniform Registry of Electors deal. Everything is brought back to serve the same monster's body, the Leviathan. Scott Linedecker has been front and center since 2011 to watch arms slither in and out. He consolidated Knowing, which merged with BPRO, which merged with Dominion, which merged with Sequoia, which started with Smartmatic. There are other arms beyond the scope of this article, but I hope you can spot what is going on. Some of you may think Linedecker should be given the benefit of the doubt. I respond with this. Linedecker was on the November 3rd, 2020, 3:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, CISA, Election Security Initiative call, a 30-minute coordination among 200-plus stakeholders, including Dominion's Eric Coomer, ES&S, ERIC, the FBI, Amazon, and NGOs like Democracy Works. Exposed via 2024 FOIA docs, this Election Day huddle shows Linedecker is no late arriving savior. And now he owns Dominion, the same Dominion that tabulated 28 states. Whether Linedecker wants to admit it, he now owns the scandal in Georgia's Fulton County, the lawfare that brought to ruin Rudy Giuliani, the great Hoff brothers, that provided the basis for the pseudo-RICO indictments against Trump, Sidney Powell, Ken Chesebro, and others can be traced to Dominion's cover-up. He owns the scandal in Michigan's Wayne County, white vans full of fraudulent ballots run through Dominion tabulators in the dark of night. He owns the scandal in Arizona's Maricopa County, with Arizona's automated voter identification heat maps targeting GOP precincts. Those precincts had Dominion tabulators unable to process Republican ballots on Election Day. But at least Linedecker can say Dominion is now 100% American-owned. Any refunds for the Americans buried by Dominion's lawfare? I ask. Liberty Vote mirrors a limited hangout, a half-truth to pacify, while the Leviathan's arms tighten, like Elon Musk's 2022 Twitter acquisition, reborn as X, exposing censorship, yet throttling critics like yours truly. Liberty Vote Scott Linedecker pledges transparency and American control. The software, Total Votes plugins, Democracy Suite's backdoors, survives on Azure and FirstNet, belying the free market facade. It's a confession to sell a new hue, a new interface, with the Leviathan's cloud goal, centralized voter data. Raheem Kassam gaslights election integrity experts, pushing back against his puff piece. Experts who have forgotten more on the subject than he'll ever know. Linedecker vowed a rebuild publicly, but emailed clients business as usual. Knowing's February 18th, 2025 EAC certification for PollPad version 3.6 drew praise, but ex-critics called it federal laundering for connected systems. In Colorado, El Paso County Clerk Steve Sliker announced decommissioning Dominion gear, Is it a coded signal that bad actors are done delivering the cheat through Dominion's tabulators? New Mexico reveals Liberty Vote's cloud reality. Dominion tabulators and NoInk's Total Vote have served up illegal elections on internet-connected, Azure-hosted systems. SOS Maggie Toulouse-Oliver broke laws by processing the election on the cloud instead of the promised air-gapped system. A 2025 Smartmatic whistleblower detailed Dominion's backdoors and war room monitoring, echoed in New Mexico's contracts. Election officials still deny Dominion equipment connects to the internet, but Total Vote is openly cloud-hosted. Leindecker's Total Vote replaces Dominion's election management with a Ferris wheel of integration for cheaters. Liberty Vote can feign compliance with Trump's executive orders, pretending to clean Dominion scandals, while shifting the cheat to a more elegant subversion. Americans may object when they realize cloud-hosted Total Vote processes election results online. The Center for Internet Security, CIS, tied to Albert Sensors and election censorship, created a faux certification program. It unilaterally certifies software like NoInk's. No matter how much hand-waving election officials do about cybersecurity and VPNs, cloud systems are vulnerable to man-in-the-middle attacks, especially with trillions at stake. Total Vote also controls voter registration, mail-in ballot requests, and tracking. Is this a white hat plan to force compliance through one entity? Will we see disclosures like Matt Taibbi's Twitter files exposing censorship corruption? Under Obama, elections were deemed critical infrastructure, giving the federal government monitoring powers through CIS, increasing vulnerabilities. Is Trump's Schumer shutdown gutting the deep state's election apparatus? I don't know. I hope so. But I can't risk my children's voting future on hope. My impulse is to deny Leindecker daylight until the Leviathan slave master is buried. The foreign ties, Smartmatic's Venezuela, Dominion's Serbia, are too recent to fade under his U.S.-only vows. Mergers mask the monster's body. Eric Coomer and Hyder Garcia carry its ledger. NGOs like Democracy Fund and CIS certify flaws. The Leviathan's arms coil tighter. In episode 6, I talked about the Python spirit, a spirit that thrives in the GOP, where voices ring mostly true, policies almost right. How the serpent aims at third rails, issues that could break the world open. This is such an issue. Conservative Inc. reinforces the cycle of deception, praising Liberty Vote while dodging the Leviathan. Cleta Mitchell's Election Integrity Network pushes compliance rather than outright removal of the rigged machines. Kassam's National Pulse, Ben Dominic's Federalist, Eric Erickson's Red State, and Turning Point tout the development as positive reform, but again skip any mention of rigged machine removal. Scott Pressler's 2024 Pennsylvania voter drive ignores software that can cancel his efforts. Donors like Ron Rudin, Council for National Policy tied to ES&S, and Staple Street Capital profit and deflect scrutiny. Their work and silence on the machines buys the shapeshift, leaving Total Vote's plugins and Dominion's backdoors intact, per Rasmussen whistleblowers serving the same monster. In the wake of Scott Leindecker's October 25 rebrand of Dominion as Liberty Vote, touted as a trust-restoring overhaul amid fraud allegations, the private equity firm behind ES&S rebranded from McCarthy Capital to M1 Capital, emphasizing strategic evolution and 100% American ownership. Is ES&S poised for rebrand to dodge scrutiny over vulnerabilities and monopolistic control? This would escalate the election tech industry's cosmetic pivots, refreshing images without code audits or decentralization, perpetuating the corporate shell game critics decry before the 2026 midterms. The Leviathan pushes cloud, AI, and blockchain. We must break the cycle. Hand-marked paper, neighbors counting, one day. Trump's 2025 order demands it. Target Liberty's contracts and expose. Name the arms. ES&S, BR Systems, Dominion, Total Vote, Liberty Vote, one monster. Sever them. shatter the Leviathan's chains, unplug, and the Republic turns. What do you think? Leave your comments below.
I'm a naturopathic doctor. We are in the world of medicine very acquainted with many modalities, but probably the one most familiar with everybody would be two things: homeopathy and herbals or herbs, maybe some nutrients too, vitamins, minerals, that kind of thing. Now, we do know a lot about the drugs because we have to find out what drug you're taking affects you and what nutrient it depletes you of, because most every drug pharmacy product will deplete something. So we have been trained and we have a database that we can check into that says this is going to take your B12 away. The pharmaceutical company cannot patent organic substances made by the body. You're not born short of Advil. You're not born short of Ritalin.
Yeah.
You can be born short of insulin, right? The answers to staying healthy and keeping away from even SARS or any of those things getting into you is staying healthy. You and I get sick because our terrain gets out of balance. Well, that's the same thing in the soil. You and I are made from this thing called dirt. And when we get out of balance, we have the same thing happen. Weeds start to grow in our body. Right? And that's what we want in our body. We want nutrients that we don't understand how to get well enough yet because our suppliers are lacking knowledge on nutrient density foods.
So this is what drove you to develop this, was your knowledge of this, right?
Right. You know that.
I'm excited to announce that we're having a huge sale on overstock and brand new products. For example, My Pillow Percale bed sheets, every color, every style, every size, only $29.88. Our Percale bed sheets are breathable, cool and crisp, and they're perfect for spring and summer. And check out Rev 7, the next generation of energy drinks. It tastes great, and it gives you energy all day with no jitters and no crashes. Best of all, it's actually good for you. And for a limited time, try our 3-pack absolutely free. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to save 20% on our Rev 7 12-packs, or try our introductory 3-pack absolutely free. And our Percale bed sheets, all sizes, only $29.88. Twin size, full size, queen size, king sizes, all $29.88. Inventory is extremely limited at this price, so order now.
Welcome back to the SCIF. Hope you enjoyed that with David Clements. He's spot on. We're going to be all over this. We have been all over it for several years now. And when you combined all the nefarious activities with the machines, with what our next guest is going to talk about, which is artificial intelligence, you get a real serious situation. So I see Brenden Reilly in the green room. I'm going to bring him in now. My friend, thanks for joining me. How you doing today?
Yeah, good. How are you?
Oh, good. I like the beard, man. That's new, right?
It is very new, yeah.
So I wanted to get you on. What's that?
Showing off my age.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's all good. I wanted to get you on because there's been a lot of talk about artificial intelligence. You know, the lead that OpenAI has, the changes that are coming in AI. OpenAI announced they're going to be into porn and erotica going forward. So just so much stuff swirling. I wanted to get your input as to where you see the business right now.
Yeah, it's always an interesting landscape, right? And as you know, I focus on AI as well as quantum computing, which is the next leg in robotics. So
Yeah.
I think we need to really focus on all three of them because combined they are changing the world very rapidly at a pace that is going to be hard for society to keep up, right? So, going back a little bit, the Genius Act was passed through Congress and signed by Trump recently. There's a real focus on not only AI, but where crypto is going. And I bring it up because you really have to see the full landscape of everything. And AI is just one leg to the stool. And, part of that is what's going on with AI. And you say, OpenAI and what they're saying, they got to look for ways of making money. And I guess Sam believes that porn is a good way of making money. I don't get it. I think you and I talked a while back that when he actually got fired by the board, I think it has been a terrible, terrible decision to let him back in.
Yeah.
He's moving in directions and areas that, again, I think are unethical, back to porn, and I think has moved towards AGI and his lack of real constraint in that direction is going to be extremely problematic.
Well, the reputational hit that he took for this porn thing is massive, I think. Do you see it that way?
Yeah, I had little respect before. I have zero respect now. Smart guy, great company, misguided in, you need to add a lot more ethics around Sam Altman. And again, when the board tried to do that, they failed. Right?
Maybe he's working for the wrong side, but we'll leave that for another discussion. I had Tom Teague on, who's a finance guy, and his thought was you need all these different AIs to check the other ones. Do you agree with that? Like a lot of different options. So if Google says all the founding fathers were black, somebody else says the truth. What say you?
Yeah, the truth is hard to find from all of the data that is there. And the problem is that all of these organizations, you go to Claude or Llama or OpenAI, Perplexity, they're training their AIs on specific open data, right? And it becomes problematic because there's bias in the data. And then there's bias in the organizations who are training this. So it's very skewed. There are, you sent me an article last week, and it's interesting on organizations that are kind of jumping to the lead, like Oracle. Oracle data, when it comes to healthcare records and financial records, it's not open to the internet, right? So Oracle is now making a giant push into AI with information that they control on everything from, your personal healthcare records are probably stored in an Oracle database, and how to leverage that moving forward. So I think it's really hard to take the bias out of the system. And, to your point, it's actually leveraging multiple AIs to try and do that. I saw a little thing yesterday on Elon on Wikipedia. And interesting, because if you look at Wikipedia, it is, there's a battle on what is truthful and what is not truthful on Wikipedia. And the whole discussion was, does he create Grokpedia using Grok to try and get rid of do a better job at taking the untruths out of the system.
Do you fully trust Elon? Or I guess that's a stupid question. Do you trust him enough? I guess is the real question, because, he he literally saved the world, you could say, with the buy of Twitter and the exposure of everything. But we're throttled on X. I mean, and a lot of people are. So where do you stand on that?
I believe that he is more trustworthy than the rest of the people in the room.
Good point. Yeah.
But I don't know that I would trust any of them. And that's, to your point, is that you have to double check against every single organization out there. You don't just watch Fox News, right?
Yeah.
Come to your channel, right? Watch a little CNN, go to Al Jazeera,
sure.
Right? Do your own research. And if you're not inquisitive and you're not assuming that, everybody has their individual finger on the scale. I have friends and all they do is watch CNN all day. And
Right.
they were at the No Kings rally this weekend because of it.
Of course.
Right. So,
yeah.
But when it comes to, my world, I'm just focused on AI and its impact. I wrote a book, it's on Amazon, and
What's the title of the book, in case people
AI
want to
and its impact on the workforce.
Okay.
Right? So, and it was written 2 years ago. And I think I'm pretty much spot on different industries and sectors that will lose jobs. Right. And that's the real focus for me right now is the AI automation, right? What quantum computing will do in the next 5 years to impact that, and robotics, right? As you know, I've got 5 kids, and I'm struggling to figure out what they're going to do for a living for a career, right? A 30-year career. So, and where does that lead? And look, as of recent, you're looking at what's not being in the news of hundreds of thousands of jobs being laid off by the biggest corporations in the world by automation, right? And the shift in the financial sector from a debt-based society, right, to a tokenized asset-based society.
Yes.
And there's a lot of changes that will happen because of crypto and AI and that shift.
Tucker's had an interesting segment recently, and I forget the guest, but they were talking about, because they're training a lot of this on Wikipedia and other things like it, as you said, the database is bad. So they're literally changing the history of humanity and the bedrock, the foundation of our civilization by what data is going to be exposed to the low information voter out there, the person that is not going to, question.
Yeah. And what's going on is that you have to realize that 50 states have already passed some level of AI legislation, right, to make sure that AI is less biased towards a particular race, right? And if you're using AI in your hiring practice and you discriminate against a guy with a lot of gray in his beard, right? But you didn't really realize because the AI is making the decisions, then you're liable, and anybody who used that AI is liable as well. So if you think that you are making decisions in a corporate environment using open AI and it has bias in it, watch out, because you might be surprised when the AI makes decisions that violate some of those new laws, right?
Well, I got to bring this up because I don't know if you saw it. There's a general, and I'm trying to get his Major General William Hank Taylor, commander of the 8th Army in South Korea, said he uses ChatGPT for command decisions. I about fell out of my chair. First, it's bias. Second, it's Sam Altman. Third, dude, what? This is, command of 100,000 troops in Korea or whatever it is. Unbelievable. What say you on that?
Well, first of all, OpenAI does not have the details coming from, the Pentagon or any other place. So if he's making command decisions, hopefully it's just on, what to MWR is going to do for
Right.
keeping the troops happy,
Right.
or what the housing decisions will be on post, right? But any real command decision to say in the least that ChatGPT had the ability to have any influence on it whatsoever is scary, and I would venture to guess against the chain of command.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
What is the danger you see in the near term and the long term from AI? Is it physical? Is it just destruction of communities? Is it economic? I mean, what is it in your mind?
Yeah, again, when senior people are using it to make decisions, and those decisions have been biased or anything else, it could be extremely problematic. The other thing is that, like I said, I was putting a list together for something I was writing. In the last 18 months, Amazon 16,000 layoffs, Alphabet 12,000, Microsoft 10,000, UPS 20,000. Tesla 14,000, Salesforce 7,500, IBM. Between 5 organizations, actually 7 organizations, you have 150,000 layoffs because of automation.
Yeah. Wow.
And that's the real shift, right? We've gone from kind of using LLMs to using agents that are now smarter, can reason and make decisions. And as AI continues to progress, it goes from a nice tool where I can use ChatGPT to help me write an email, right, or write a white paper, to something that can help me make decisions. But I'm making the decisions, to an agent that will actually make a decision and take an action for me.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Sorry. I was going to say the word agent. I mean, I always wonder if this stuff has been pre-programmed, like with Hollywood. Agent Smith from The Matrix. I mean, there it is, right up in your grill.
Well, I mean, before, think of agent, a travel agent. I'd like to go on vacation. I got 5 kids. Here's my budget.
Yeah.
To the point where it doesn't say, it gives options, but then it books. It gets the room, it chooses everything, and my complete trip is created, booked, and managed by an AI, right?
Yeah.
I don't know the last time you used a travel agent.
No, I don't know if I ever did. Maybe 20, 30 years ago. Yeah.
Right.
Wow.
But there you have it. I mean,
Yeah.
think of that, but think of in a corporate world, once the agents start getting in there, that's what you're getting. I mean, organizations that are laying off. The CEO of Bank of America was on last week and basically said they're not hiring. They're in a hiring freeze the last 2 years. They've got an 8% attrition rate. So they've gone from 260,000 to 213,000 employees just because people leave, but they're not laying off, but they see a large number of employees leaving the organization, and they're not being replaced because of automation in the system. Right?
Wow. So what are you working on these days?
I am tokenizing real estate, launching a new company that you'll see in the next 60 days, that instead of, we will try and eliminate home equity loans and reverse mortgages. So basically, very quickly, instead of a baby boomer who is equity rich in their house and cash poor, we will purchase 20% of a home, go on deed, and give them, let's say, $200,000, $300,000. That's tax free, and they never pay it back. It's not a loan. It's not a lien. It never gets paid back. So going away from debt to basically assets tokenized, and then we have organizations, because those real estate assets actually increase in value at a great rate over time. We also buy at a slight discount, so the returns are 20, 30, 40% over 1, 2, and 3 years for investors who hold the assets. I mean, I've been in my house for 27 years, and if you owned 20% of my house 20 years ago, 10 years ago, or even 5 years ago, it would be fantastic. And then when and if they sell, we share in the equity percentage that we own in that business. So it's interesting.
Wow. What's the name of do you have a name yet?
It's Title, TYTL. And so TYTL.ai basically takes a title token and mirrors it one for one with a portfolio of real estate assets. So it's cool because we only actually offer it in about 9,000 zip codes. Those zip codes have increased over the last 10 years at a compounded annual growth rate over 6.5%. So real estate keeps going up, right? Yeah. And you have to have $1 million home and 50% available equity, which there are tons of baby boomers. So my mom's 84. She's been in her house for 51 years that she bought for $35,000. And now she's got $1 million worth of equity, but she worries about paying her electric bill. Right?
Yes.
So I'm like, Mom, here, we'll give you $200,000.
Wow.
It's not a loan. It's not debt. We'll just buy the equity, stay in your house for as long as you live. It doesn't matter. Your life doesn't change, but now take the $200,000 and enjoy life a little bit better. So that's what I'm doing. It is actually crypto. There's a bunch of AI in there. There's some great partners that we're partnering with that, doing $1 billion. We should do $1 billion in the first year in 2026. And hopefully a lot more if we're successful. But it's the shift. I said from a debt-based society to a asset-based society. There's lots of people. There's $39 trillion of equity in single-family primary residence owned by baby boomers over the age of 65.
Yeah, your timing's pretty good.
Yeah. So, hopefully that does well. But, understanding again, crypto, AI, where the market's going and everything else and where the need is. I mean, we're trying to help people save their homes and, be able to enjoy their lives with, equity that they have grown over the last 20, 30 years.
Fantastic. Brenden, thank you so much for coming on, man. How do people follow you? Where do you want people to go to stay in touch?
Yeah, briley.com is my site. If you want to go see more about what I'm doing and learn about my book and some of the other projects that I'm working on and helping on.
Cool, man. See you again soon. Thank you. Take care.
Okay, thanks.
Bye. The bird flu is circulating. We're getting more and more press, more fear mongering, more warnings about this. First, let's start with that. What say you on?
Well, what I say is it specifically is not circulating. It's in animals. There's one human, maybe two transmissions, no human-to-human transmission. And stand by, everybody. If there is some sort of sudden human-to-human transmission, you should immediately be suspicious that gain of function was involved with that. Just the fact that they're taking an animal virus and going nuts on it in the press and talking about it all the time, that to me leads me to believe that they have concerns that somebody is doing something with that virus, because this would not happen naturally, in my opinion.
Our world is changing rapidly. Many crucial systems we depend upon are collapsing. And the most important system that is failing is the food supply.
Mr. President, this Council is more than aware of the multiple challenges and threats the world is facing today. But the threat of famine, people starving slowly to death, must be a red line.
These food prices are going to keep going up and up, and they're going to keep feeding excuse after excuse, narrative after narrative.
Yeah.
Where you're going to have to get off that treadmill and start getting more autonomous with your own food growing.
You want to make sure that you can eat, because frankly, food is the biggest issue as we are going through these transitions.
But amidst the chaos, there is a path to resilience. Marjorie Wildcraft is the female leader of the survival and preparedness movement. Marjorie has taught millions of people how to grow an abundance of food in a grid-down situation, even if you have no experience, are older, or out of shape.
I've spent decades finding the fastest, easiest, and funnest ways for the average person to be able to grow a lot of food. I've created a step-by-step process that's so simple that even kids to elders have been using it in order to grow a lot of their own food. And you can too, even if you have no experience, you're older, or you're out of shape.
Growing your own food is like printing your own money. Get started today.
Welcome back to the SCIF. I want to give a plug to one of our sponsors, the Wellness Company. Go to twc.health/CDM. That's twc.health/CDM for our audio audience. And you can check out what they have on the website. This is an ad for Drop, which is their weight loss alternative to Ozempic, etc. It's much less impactful on the body, and it's only given when you're hungry. It doesn't, put stuff in your body constantly as some of these other drugs do. So check it out. It's called Drop on the Wellness Company, twc.health/CDM. Use promo code CDM. You'll get 10% off. But we've also got the medical kits. I'm going to go into Beirut soon. I'm bringing this bad boy. They've got all the nutraceuticals, the supplements to get rid of the spike protein in your body, the parasite cleanses, the doctor visits, all of it. If I'm in Beirut and I get sick, I can call them on the video link with the doctor. I've got the emergency medical kit, and they'll say, okay, this is what you might have. Take this to treat it, and it's all good. So the Wellness Company has been a big supporter of ours, and we really appreciate their help and support to build free media. Also, if you're looking for gifts for Christmas, it's coming. Check out my books, Currency and Paying the Price, The Untold Story of the Iranian Resistance. This one is a fastic page-turner historical fiction tied to today. And this one is nonfiction on how we can save the Iranian Republic or bring down the regime for the Iranian people, without a war, without attacking Iran. Do it from the inside, much smarter. And we want to get that message to the Trump administration. You notice we've been successful on Ukraine. I think we were successful in limiting the Iran conflict last time. We hope there's not another one, but we'll be all over that if there is. I want to play some of the Georgia show yesterday talking about what's going on with Russia. I think you need to be aware of this. It's really important. Bill Quinn did a good job discussing it, and I'm going to play that now, so stand by. Here we go. Hold on. Here it is.
Right. Let's go back to the last show, and we spoke of some very interesting dynamics that were happening with Anna Paulina Luna, and that also overlapped some of the posts coming from Kirill Dmitriev. And what Representative Luna, one of the representatives from Florida, brought out was that she had received word that she would be receiving a 350-page document from the Russian embassy, essentially from Russia, but being brought to her by the embassy. And it was a collection of documents assembled to try to give their analysis of the JFK assassination and other information surrounding it. So subsequent to this, Ms. Paulina Luna did confirm that she had gotten the document. She gave it to some trusted consultants, and they went through it, and they are going through it. They're translating it and have uploaded it, and I will show you where. Now, you can download the raw document. Here's the note from the Russian embassy saying that they were sending this 350-page document over. By the way, it will also be published directly from the Russian government in the beginning of November, as I understand. And here's where you can go and you can actually download the PDF document that they received, all 350 pages of it. How do I know? Because I've done it. Below is the PDF link. This is what Anna Paulina Luna writes. The PDF link to the report from the Russian government regarding the assassination of JFK. Authentication and translation has already begun, and translated pages will be released in the coming days. Let me break the code for you. You can actually download the PDF. You can, my recommendation would be to save it in perhaps dozens of pages at a time, and you can paste those pages into Grok in X, ask it to translate them, and it will do so. I would not recommend you do all 350 pages. It'd probably take too long, but I've had good success looking at 15 or 20 pages at a time and bringing them in. Now, one of the things that people have focused on is, okay, who did it? Who assassinated JFK? It speaks to part of that. Perhaps it does have a fairly lengthy set of pages that speak to Oswald and his time both in Russia, gives you some examples of documents that he had when he was in Russia and traveling. But perhaps the other unspoken question that many people have not asked was, why was he assassinated? What was it that caused so many people potentially to think that JFK needed to be taken out of the equation? Well, in order to get what might be an important perspective on this, we need to go back to something that happened just before Eisenhower left office. He made a speech, and in that speech, he raised some warnings. I'm not going to play the entire speech, but I will play a portion of it. And I'm going to ask you to consider this and keep it in mind as we go through the next few minutes.
But we can no longer risk emergency improvisation of national defense. We have been compelled to create a permanent armaments industry of vast proportions. Added to this, 3.5 million men and women are directly engaged in the defense establishment. We annually spend on military security alone more than the net income of all United States corporations. Now, this conjunction of an immense military establishment and a large arms industry is new in the American experience. The total influence, economic, political, even spiritual, is felt in every city, every state house, every office of the federal government. We recognize the imperative need for this development, yet we must not fail to comprehend its grave implications. Our toil, resources, and livelihood are all involved. So is the very structure of our society. In the councils of government, we must guard against the acquisition of unwarranted influence, whether sought or unsought, by the military-industrial complex. The potential for the disastrous rise of misplaced power exists and will persist. We must never let the weight of this combination endanger our liberties or democratic processes. We should take nothing for granted. Only an alert and knowledgeable citizenry can compel the proper meshing of the huge industrial and military machinery of defense with our peaceful methods and goals, so that security and liberty may prosper together.
Very interesting statement. So in the first portion of his speech, he talks about the fact that we've had to create this military industrial complex because it's necessary to ensure our security. And yet at the same time, we need to be cognizant of the fact that it must be kept in proper perspective and proper control, perhaps. And that requires an alert and educated citizenry, meaning us. So, very interesting warning as he gets ready to leave office. What we're going to show you next is something that came out of the report once they started going through it. And I have pulled some of the pages out to be able to show you directly, but let's take a look at this. So Kirill Dmitriev, who've had this unusual and fascinating goal and role through all of these last few weeks, notes that from the Soviet JFK docs released by Representative Luna, the Kennedy-Khrushchev World Peace Bridge could and should be built between Alaska and Russia at once. And he goes on, I didn't post the entire thing because it's rather lengthy, but with modern boring company technology, this is the ability to quickly do underground tunneling and other things. This could be accomplished. Now, why is this important? Well, kind of goes back to the way that Todd started the conversation. Sometimes the ability to have cooperation between countries is essential to the health and prosperity of the countries that are involved. What else was in this report that came out from Russia? Well, this is one of them, a very interesting picture of Khrushchev and Kennedy apparently together and apparently having, looks like a pretty good conversation, a pretty good meeting. We'll delve more into the substance of some of these as we get further into analysis of the document. We're going to let some of those that have deeper understanding and also the ability to translate this in natural Russian and then translate it into modern English. We'll hear more about some of these things. But look at this. And I'm going to go full screen so you can see this. This is a sketch, if you will, of the most of the world, absent part of Europe. And it shows a connection, if you will. This Kennedy-Khrushchev World Peace Bridge could and should be built between Russia and Alaska at once. This is a document that came from this package assembled back directly after the assassination of Kennedy. Were they working on this at the time? Was this in discussion? Well, we don't know precisely yet.
Let me bring up something real quick right there. Take that down for a second, Bill.
Yep.
This is an article we put out over the weekend, or not this over the weekend, but this week. What could Putin and Trump have up their sleeve? And it goes into exactly that and some historical analysis. This is an old photo rendering of what it might look like. And, we connected to the Putin-Trump summit in Hungary. This is the tweet you're talking about. But these are old drawings from decades ago. This was from 1904. Tsar authorizes American syndicate to begin work on the bridge, the Bering Strait Bridge. And they were also talking about damming certain things. I mean, there's a lot of history here, and you can find this article on cdm.press. But my thought is that the routes and resources and the amount of natural resources that are available in this region, and a lot of people are saying, well, there's no people on either side, so why build a bridge? That's not the point. The point is to connect the economies and do it in a way that is stable and, really just bring wealth to both sides. So back to you.
That's right. And it isn't just those two countries, as we'll see in a minute. It potentially can benefit much of the world in many ways. So let me bring this back up one more time. So I want to make sure people have a chance to look at this. Now, this is the drawing in the document given to Representative Luna. What's interesting to me is, again, the page that immediately follows this. Look at this. We don't know exactly what this was. It looks like it might be maybe part of the infrastructure. Look at the words at the bottom. Eternal peace. Eternal peace. And yet, after JFK was assassinated, did we have eternal peace? No, we had escalation. We had an escalation of the Vietnam War at the time. We've had conflict since. But was this possible back in this time frame? I think we're going to find out, and I think it'll be an interesting education. Why is it so interesting and potentially easy to do this? Well, the reality is that there's two islands, and there's an international date line that runs between, but they're only about 2.4 miles apart. One is part of the USA, one is part of Russia. So we've often heard, well, the Bering Strait is, it's so close, you can get across with 70 miles or so. Well, it's even tighter than that. The actual distance between land owned by or beholden to the two countries is only about 2.5 miles apart. Now, yes, there need to be more infrastructure. And one of the things that Kirill Dmitriev points out is a posting by Musk, who speaks directly to this. Now, again, Musk has had an interesting role in giving us information we didn't know before and that we need to know now. So let's take a look at what Elon Musk posted.
All Americans know that the US and Russia are actually much closer to each other, just 2 miles apart. And more than that, they are even connected. Sometimes, and here is why. The countries are separated by the Bering Strait. And if we look closer here, we can see 2 tiny Diomede islands which are 2.4 miles apart and divide the mainland of the US and the mainland of Russia. Little Diomede belongs to the USA, and it is home to one of the most isolated towns in the USA called Diomede, with a population of 82 people. Big Diomede belongs to Russia, and it is uninhabited. Only military personnel are present. Therefore, Diomede is the closest American town to Russia, separated by 2 miles of water. And the point is that in the winter, the water freezes and creates an ice bridge between the two countries, and thus making it possible to cross the border by land. Interesting that there is an international date line between these two islands. The difference between them is 21 hours. And if you cross the border from the US side, you will be in the future and become a kind of time traveler.
Interesting way to say it, but it gives you a sense of just how close this is and could be. Now let's go back. Let's go back here for a moment. Now here's I'll call it sort of the bigger picture. Look at how much might be created if this connection were to be in place. You'd be able to transport goods across much of the world, given the ability to get across there. Today, there's other ways to do it, but they could be a lot further, and some might require sea travel to get goods and things where they need to go. So here's one way of looking at it, and Kirill Dmitriev again talks about the potential for this. Let's look at one other view of it, and look at all the different places that might be connected, all the way down to and through Japan and China and so forth. And in fact, one of the things that Dmitriev pulls out is there's already
Well, in the case of hydroxychloroquine and ivermectin, these are 2 medications that have been FDA approved for use in humans for decades. They are very, very inexpensive. Interestingly, available over the counter in almost every other country other than the US and Canada. You can just walk into a pharmacy and buy them like we buy Tylenol in much of the world because they're that safe. And we've known for decades that ivermectin has very strong antiviral properties. It has anti-inflammatory properties, and both ivermectin and hydroxychloroquine are what we call zinc ionophores. They help to move zinc from the bloodstream into the cell, which is where it needs to be in order to fight off a virus. So lots of application for these, and we have every reason to believe that those drugs also will likely have some efficacy against H5N1 or a number of other respiratory viruses that we may meet down the road.
If you haven't noticed, gold has reached a new high, all-time highs actually, and keeps going up every day. Why is that? It's because precious metals are a long-time historical store of value. And if you own a portfolio and you have assets in the fiat currencies, i.e. stocks, bonds, cash, or whatever, you're vulnerable to hyperinflation, which is coming as our debt explodes another trillion every 90 days. It's really scary. So how do you protect yourself? Go to Advisor Metals. If you look on any of our cdm.press sites, about halfway down, there's an ad for Advisor Metals. Click on it, fill out the form for your contact info, and Ira Bishotsky will contact you and talk to you. It's an easy conversation. There's no sales pitch. He's completely verified by us. He has a regulatory background we've checked into. We've checked with his bankers. We've checked with his IRA custodians for metals, and we can highly recommend Advisor Metals and IRA. So go to Advisor Metals. If you call them directly, tell them we sent you at CDM, and he'll definitely take care of you. But protect your portfolio because you really need to. It's coming. Thank you. Welcome back to the SCIF. Let's talk about some stories here. This one is on CDM.press. Trump urges Zelensky to accept Putin's terms or be destroyed by Russia. That's in the Financial Times. And our article says, "Thank you, Mr. President." Trump tells Zelensky to make peace. This is what we've been screaming about now for years, and especially the last 3 years. It's time. It's in the killing. They're killing 9,000 kids a week on the Ukrainian side only. I mean, if that's not evil, I don't know what is. So President Trump, you have the ability. End it tomorrow. Stop supplying weapons and money to Ukraine. Let's focus on our own country. We're going to continue to shout that to the rooftops. This one is interesting. The shutdown continues, and it's a lot of theories going around. This is on the Colorado Free Press, coloradofreepress.com, our great Colorado paper run by Ash Epp, who was on last week. A lot of agendas here floating around as to why this is happening. You can make your own decisions, but interesting article. We'll stay up on the shutdown, and a lot of our reporters are on that as well. Another one on the Manhattan. Mamdani poses with an imam whose son ran child composing terrorist compound. I don't know if he's stepping on the shark here or if New Yorkers are just so gone and lost they don't care. But if you're in New York, this is what you're going to have soon. We'll see what President Trump has to say about this. I'm sure the White House is working on this. Another one on the Miami Independent. Florida bill will require medical examiners to include recent vaccination history when investigating sudden deaths of children and infants. This is important because all of this is about disclosure and waking up the public as to the poison they've been feeding us in a variety of ways: food, vaccines, medicine, water, all of it. So we'll stay on these stories. Last one. Here is the one I want you to be aware of. It's on CDM. USDA drops live virus-containing rabies edibles from helicopters, airplanes across the U.S., leaving persons at risk for vaccine exposure, vaccine virus. So infection. This is from the CDC. So what the hell is going on here? You got Bill Gates looking at putting vaccines in mosquitoes. They want this poison in your body. The problem is you're all waking up. So they want to find ways to put this poison in your body anyway. So what about your dog playing in the woods comes back with an edible for rabies? I mean, my goodness. Just amazing. Allegedly, it's a vaccine, but, we all know how that works on the vaccines. Hope you enjoyed the show today. Please support our sponsors. We're on podcasts. Check cdm.press every day. We're on Gettr. We're on X. We're on Rumble. We're on YouTube. We load the show after. Thank you for your support. Tell your friends about the show. Spread the links. We need to grow the show. We're throttled on X. It varies each day, but how bad the throttling is. And I've heard that from others, that people get, huge days, and then other days they're whacked down. So word of mouth is key. Support our social media. Sign up for CDM1 on Rumble. And even if you don't watch Rumble, even if you don't watch YouTube, sign up for subscribe to our channel on YouTube, because it's important to get the word out. Thank you for all your support today. Check cdm.press 3 times a day. You'll be smarter than most people, and watch the SCIF. We'll be back tomorrow at 10 a.m. Thank you.